Okay. Hello. I'm back now. uh I had it switched to the wrong orientation and realized that that wasn't going to work, especially once I started sharing my screen a bit more and we actually started writing things down on that. So I apologize for the reset. I will share my screen one more time just to have that prompt here, because once the video is replaying for anyone, they won't be able to see what I already said. So here we go. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Zaria Rayleigh Jack Crane. I have started this free 30-day Get Ready for Change challenge to help people step into their power and to help people understand, you know, what it is they actually feel and think and believe, and how to utilize all of the skills and powers and beliefs inside of them to actually exercise the visions and the truth and the reality that they see. So, with that being said, today is day 11 of the free 30-day Get Ready for Change challenge. And day 11's prompt is, what excuses or obstacles do I focus on or use the most, and why? Okay, I'll give everyone a chance to write that down just so yeah. And while you write that down, here we go with my tea. Hmm, that's very beautiful, very floral. I actually burned it a little. My heat was too high. It's a nice oolong. It's also a little weak. I used too much water and I burned it. That's crazy. Okay. Now, once you've written this down, start thinking about your answer a little bit and definitely hone in on the answers that make you feel like, you know what? No, I think that's just how life works, or I guess that's just how life works, or I guess I just have to, or it's just something I'm gonna have to figure out, or whatever feels or has that sort of energy, that vibe, those words to it. Definitely write down those phrases, those thoughts, those beliefs, because we're gonna focus in on them. We're gonna reframe them just like we did with those skills that we've used yesterday in day 10 and the days before. And we're going to dive even deeper into actually helping you see that these are just obstacles and excuses and really fears that have been placed on you from outside pressures. And we're going to release these outside pressures. Okay. Now, today I did also say we would be going over um, how to analyze your daily routine or your daily actions with the combination of your beliefs and what you're thinking. So that's also why day 11, we're really focusing in, we're writing down what we have been, just thinking in the circles and patterns that are going on in the brain that we're trying to stop, or we're trying to get around, or we don't think there is a way around. Really, that's the main focus. Pick the excuses and obstacles you feel like, bruh, there just is no way around this. Whatever it is, um, it's most likely still, like, honestly a fear, and there's a way to reshape it so that you don't feel daunted or dis despair, or you don't feel certain um negative ways about it. You can actually just go and do what you've set out to do and live your life. So, with all that being said, everyone's written down their prompt. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I think it's wild that we say I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen when we could just stop sharing our screen. But I think that's the Zoom culture. So, yes, you can always go on to Pampered and Luxed at Instagram if you want to just follow along to the prompts at your own pace, or you don't really feel like you need the deep dive as much. If you don't really want to discuss how to, like, genuinely analyze everything, you can just follow along on Instagram. I'm still creating the shorts and reels to be uploaded from the longer form content so that the daily prompts can be inside video form as well, short video form. But until then, definitely go to at Pampered and Luxed on Instagram, and you'll be able to get every single prompt daily for 30 days. Yes. And then honestly, I also, I put things in the story that are just helpful messages, helpful affirmations, anything like that. You definitely follow, and you'll be able to just get some affirmational, very encouraging content. Oh my God, the little birdie. You're going to get some very affirmational content. So, hmm, okay, today's prompt. All right. So, I'm still color coding with mine, right? And you've been here before, so it's time to dig in. Today might feel a little intense, or it might feel you might even just start kind of almost spiraling a little, but don't give in. Okay, don't give in, and remind yourself, your answers to your prompts from days specifically. I can show you which days, because this is why we do them in the order we do them. For days like day 11, it's going to be a bit difficult. You might even want to not do it. So that's why you remember your pledge from day 1. You also remember that there are characteristics and skills that you possess that help you through anything. So honing in on those and going back to your answers from day 5, you can literally look at them physically from the same notebook that you've been writing everything in, to be like, okay, you know what? I don't have to sit here and harp on this obstacle when I can focus on actions and skills and characteristics that I have and that I could take to get me out of any situation. And then there's also how we answered on day 6, our 5 most terrifying outcomes to life. And we combated those fears. We actually gave them not only names and faces, but we gave them reasons to not even be around. Like, this isn't something to worry about. So we're utilizing those answers from those days to help keep us grounded. This from day 7 is also to help you be like, you know what, that obstacle isn't as big as the reason I decide I'm gonna do what I do. So also going back to day 7, we do all of these in order for a reason. We take them one day at a time for a reason. And that reason is to give you the most out of every single prompt, because the compounding effect is really what's getting you, and it's really what's helping. I genuinely know that day 8 for me was like, it was a pivotal point. It was a time where I could have chosen to forsake that full pledge that I made, and I could have given in to despair, because there were things that were spiraling for me. There were things that I was just like kind of going back to old versions or old thought patterns where I was like, this is hopeless. This is like, I'm in despair. But instead of giving in, I was like, no, I'm doing this challenge every single day for a reason. And I've decided to do it live with you guys and show up authentically live as myself for a reason for my challenge for 30 days, because it's important. It's important for me, it's important to me, and it's here to help me. It's here for me to get not only get better, because that can kind of have a sort of negative connotation around who you currently are, but more so more into alignment of what makes you happy and content in life, and what actually um enhances you to do and be your best version of yourself. Not necessarily to say that you're worse than you are tomorrow, more so you're different and you have different ways of doing things. And the ways that you choose to do things tomorrow can help you a lot more than the way you choose to do things today. And that's why we take this one day at a time, and we do it one day at a time. Okay. All right. So, yeah, definitely make sure that you're still using your notebook and you have access to all of your answers from before because they are here to soothe you, to help you anytime we feel extremely triggered or we feel just any type of way. All right. Now, to answer this question, because I do realize that for me, if I'm doing all this talking and then I also decided that I wasn't doing it the right way the first time, which I did actually accidentally make a mistake the first time I tried to go live earlier, put it in portrait mode. It didn't need to be, it was weird. So yes, but now I'm like, okay, we actually have to answer this question now. Like, I really have to answer this question. And that lets me know exactly how I feel about the question. And starting, I feel like before I even answer, because I'm feeling so anxious and I'm kind of circumventing even answering it, I want to go ahead and write down how I feel while I'm reading the question for me. You guys can go ahead and write down your answer or just how you feel reading the question, and we're going to keep going. But let me go ahead and do that really quick. So, um, while reading the question, okay, I'm saying while reading the question, I felt anxiously giddy, but more so anxious. Um, it feels like I'm like kind of staring a metaphorical dragon in its face right now. Uh, yes, a mm-hmm, or dragon in its face. Okay. Any other feelings I have about answering? I am actually feeling reluctant to put my answers on the live, which lets me know that in order to be most in alignment with myself, I'm most likely going to give you guys example or sample answers that could be anyone's sort of obstacle or thought. So it's telling me, I think a lot of the anxiousness is like, I think we should kind of like, we should be a little bit more a little bit, this is more of an intimate answer for me. I think that's just what it's saying. A very intimate answer. Yeah, and I definitely feel that like in my gut. Uh so okay, I didn't burn it. It's just a little weak. Okay. So, what excuse or obstacles do I focus on or use the most and why? Okay. Excuses and obstacles that I personally use the most and why. Um Yes, I do realize that this is an yes, this is definitely an intimate answer for me. So I'm gonna give you guys a sample answer. And this is just an answer that not only have I had for myself before in this way, and I've reframed it. So I have used this exact process to reframe this example I'm about to give you, but I've also heard other people just say it in general. And it's that oh, I don't have enough time. There's not enough time. There's not enough time. So definitely here, I'll put that in a we're going to go ahead and answer that one together on the page just like I did, I believe with I think it was like day 7, but um Yes, we're gonna go ahead. It was day 8. So yeah, I answered on the page with day 8 like that, and I'll do that again today, but for day 11. All right. Okay. So there's not enough time. That's the first one. There's there's not oops enough time. Or I don't have time. Because also they're two different statements. I can definitely show how the verbiage choice and just the verbiage that you use when you're saying these specific phrases or words. I've put them in the wrong place. Oh no, I put them on day 10. Um the verbiage that you use for each of these is it also helps shed a light on exactly what the limiting belief or the actual yeah the limiting belief is here. So there. Okay, there's not enough time is sort of saying here's the underlying message. The underlying message behind there's not enough time is really um I'm let's see. Actually, we'll start with I don't have enough time. I think that one's a bit easier to understand. The underlying message for I don't have enough time is really I'm doing more than I actually want to do. And I don't mean that in the amount of things that you're doing, I mean what you're doing. So, what I'm doing isn't how I genuinely want to spend my time. So these are sort of the underlying messages of I don't have time. I'm doing more than I actually want to do, and what I'm doing isn't how I genuinely want to spend my time. Now, the underlying messages with there's not enough time are a bit similar, but it really is more of a comment on how the world is functioning. And that you think that the expectations of spending time are too much, or um I give too much of my time to the world. Yeah. There's not enough time has more to do with how you view time's relationship with society and the world. And I don't have time is more of how you view your relationship specifically with time and how your life fits with time. So, depending on what you're saying, what you're feeling, there's underlying messages also happening. Now, with those underlying messages, um, we're like really diving deep today. This is how you like start to talk about those days and things. I'm setting it up this way so that it's easier for us to analyze our days. We're going to analyze days 1 through either 1 through 4 or 1 through 5, but we're going to analyze the first few days and this is almost sort of the process we're going to get to. And thinking like this is also going to help you get there a little bit easier. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, right? We're going to do the same sort of analysis we've been doing, which is feelings when reading the question, feelings when answering. And now that we've also added another element with that underlying, I want to know when's the first experience with underlying theme. And then, yeah, let's just go over these really quick, okay? Because I have had these before, and I'm really kind of showing you guys how you reframe this, okay? All right. Mine specifically was I used to be like, I feel like there's not enough time. Like there's not enough time. I my underlying theme was I felt I was being asked to do too much and I felt like I couldn't say no because of what um I was aiming to do or to get like out of that experience or out of that the thing that I was doing. So let's say like back when I was in college, because I think this was really one of my main thoughts when I was like back in college. And it was there's just not enough time. Like I'd be like, bro, there's not enough time. I would have I used to be a music major. So music majors had like 9 to 11 classes. Like it's a lot of classes. They give you 0 credit hour classes, sometimes 1 credit hour classes so that they can jam all of them into one semester because it's all knowledge you need. They're different classes you need, but to spread them out in a way that there are actually like 3 credit hours, it means that most music majors wouldn't graduate for like 8 years. So uh that experience for me being asked to do so much and then asked to do so much after I'm out of my classes and then expected to also be having my core classes, the college core classes, your English, your sciences, your maths. They give you different papers and homeworks to do and I was like, bruh, there's not enough time. And then for me, I'm a very social, like my intimate social interactions are very important to me, i.e. like very close friends, very close family. I really like to like I love to cook and host. I really like to vibe and like actually talk and genuinely connect with people and my friends and family. So I was like, not only is there not enough time for me to like go and have like any sort of social life, but there's not enough time for me to do anything for me or even figure out there's just not enough time for me to stop and think. Like I literally felt that way. So at the time that this was happening, I was like, you know what? No. Um Actually no, let's keep going. This was the first experience I had with this underlying theme was um there's not enough time. There's not enough time. I would say my senior year of high school just a little bit because I was doing like a lot there, but I really only felt it in terms of pressure, outside pressure to do specific be specific places when I wanted to be somewhere else. But really the main one was my college days. Like I was saying, college days being a music major. Yeah. So that was sort of my first experience with it, like I said. And from that first experience, we're going to talk about the time priorities. So if you're using a phrase that isn't about time and that's about something else, let's say that your phrase is I'm I'm not skilled enough or I don't have enough knowledge. Let's say that's your phrase. You're gonna list your experience, right? And then under your experience, you're gonna put um learning priorities because you're talking about skill and knowledge. And that's really the theme of what the limiting belief goes under. And you're going to talk about your knowledge priorities, your skill, your learning priorities. What priorities did you actually have at the time? So, my time priorities at the time, my number one time priority My number one time priority, was, school. Yeah. My number one time priority was school. Then my second time priority at this specific point was I would say my social interactions. And then my next priority was my overall health. And then my last priority was like me time or literally just being able to like sit and be peaceful or rest and relaxed. Um so rest was like the very at the very bottom. And then um yeah, I didn't really have any other like priorities. I only worked during the summers, so I wasn't working during the school year. And it was really just school, my social interactions, my overall health, and then rest and me time. So that's what they were at the time, right? Now, what time priority expectations did I have? All right, and this is what helps you identify, okay, I felt this way because what I really wanted to spend my time on was this, this, and this. Or if we were talking about like that knowledge and skills, I felt I lacked these skills or whatever because my real priority when it came to learning and skills was this and this and this. Instead, I was learning this and this and this, still being productive, still doing stuff, but I wasn't doing exactly what I wanted to. So I wasn't fulfilled and I didn't see that this aspect of my life was actually moving in a direction. So that's also what, this sort of analysis does. It helps you really hone in and be honest with yourself about the fact that most of us do a lot. We do a lot. We do. But because it's not stuff that we want to do, not only do we not acknowledge that we're doing it, when we are doing it, we either feel miserable or we just don't feel fulfilled. We don't feel peaceful. We don't feel good about what we're doing. So it's not a good experience. Therefore, it drains us, leaves us with less energy. And now we feel like not only are we doing nothing, we don't have energy for anything when that's not the truth. Breaking these things down, like in a full set, in a full like understanding, like really writing it down so you can see it, helps you understand that, okay, not only do I have the skills, the knowledge, the power, but I do actually take action. I do have the will. I do have the desire. I'm just aiming it in the different direction than it actually needs to go for me. I'm unaligned. That's what's actually upsetting right now. I'm not in the place where I'm like physically supposed to be, or I'm not in the mode that I'm supposed to be so that I can actually feel good about living. So that's what this is like definitely doing and getting down to. I would say my priorities that I actually wanted, um, especially time-wise, like how much time I was spending, I would have said health, then I would have said me time, then I would have said social interactions, and then I would have said school. Genuinely, that's how I actually expected my time to be spent at the time because I was like, bruh, I don't understand why I'm literally spending like, and when I include rest and me time, I'm not just talking about when I'm sleeping or when I'm like relaxing or watching TV. I'm also talking about the me time that is just being with myself, like when I like to cook and just cook for like 2 hours and do whatever, or I want to go have a nature walk just to go outside and do something, or if I'm doing anything that just feels good to me that isn't school or work related. At the time, anything that wasn't school, work, or health related, or doing stuff with other people, that was just me time. That was just things that I did, right? So that's actually how I wanted to prioritize my time, like not necessarily health, like spending my overall health gets the most time. No, I just mean that it gets time first. It gets the first pick at times. My me time gets the second pick at times. Social and interactions gets the third pick, and school gets the fourth pick. That's what I actually expected my priorities to be, and because they weren't, it was all gooey and just not where I actually felt it needed to be, then I wasn't happy, I wasn't aligned, I wasn't doing or going where I actually wanted to go. Now, once you've got that, your and I actually will go ahead and here, let's oops, back. Let me go ahead and do this. Uh I don't have the skills or knowledge. And I'll go ahead and like briefly go through that um really quick with y'all so that you can see what it looks like with something else that's not time related. I don't have the skills and knowledge. So then we go to uh the underlying message of I don't have the skills or knowledge for what I want is either a um recognition of where skills can improve, or a disbelief in the self and how skilled self is. It's really either one of the two that are the underlying like message here, underlying theme or message here. And the way to determine which one it is to genuinely sit and ask yourself, okay, what skills or characteristics are even needed in the thing that I'm talking about? List them and then say, okay, look at every single individual skill. And you're like, hey, I actually have done this before and I'm actually really good at it. Somebody has told me that I'm really good at it. Whether I believe them or not is not the problem. They've told me I'm really good at it. So if you feel like, okay, I'm looking at these skills and I actually have them, I just don't feel like I can do it, then it's more of a disbelief in the self and how skilled you are. If you're looking at the skills and you're like, I mean, I've done something like that, or if you're like, no, I haven't done that at all. I definitely know I need to like find a way to learn this, then it's definitely about your recognition of the skill. Now, believing that is something that stops you also means that you believe that you either don't have the power or the opportunity to learn what you want to learn. So this is how we see that, okay, there's more than one underlying theme going on here, and these underlying themes kind of influence each other, and they're almost kind of the same thing even, or that they can affect each other, like I was saying. So getting down to the underlying theme is what's going to help you genuinely recognize where you're putting limits on yourself, and where it doesn't have to be a limit to stop you. It's just information to say, hey, this is actually what I'd like to work on next for myself so that I can do whatever it is I desire to do in a successful manner. Right? Okay. And then after your underlie, you want to talk about your feelings when you were reading the question, feelings when you were answering, your first experience with the underlying theme. And with this one, instead of time priorities, you're gonna put learning priorities, because this is related to the fact that you feel learning something and being able to possess a skill or knowledge is what's keeping you from things, which isn't true. Because you can always learn. You can always learn. And not only are there free resources out there to learn, but there's like literal opportunities where people are choosing to teach things for free, right? Okay. One moment. I'm a little thirsty. Oh, you got a little chilly. Ooh, I actually kind of like you cold. Maybe I should make it stronger, have it cold. Okay. So you would list your learning priorities at the time. You would list your desired learning priorities at the time. And then from there, we're going to take both of these beliefs, right? And we're going to just pause and stop and take a moment to use the same sort of analysis we used on those fear obstacles, on those limiting fears and things that, we had about just life, the worst life outcomes and how we combated those. We're going to use that same process to literally reframe this whole statement and not only give it a new meaning, but find a affirmation to use instead of saying this phrase. So that way, not only if the phrase comes up in your head, just because our habits die hard, and if you've been thinking the same thing over and over, it's gonna pop up, okay? So you have to be ready for it to pop up. And when it pops up, you're going to think, okay, not only do I not have the same attitude towards that sentence, but that sentence popped up in my head and now I have an affirmation to go right after it. Here's the affirmation that goes right after it. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do for each of these is give this a new meaning. Instead of saying there's not enough time, and feeling like, oh my God, there's not enough time for me to do whatever I want to do, or there's not enough time for me to make what happens to happen. Um, Instead of feeling that way when we hear that, we're gonna retrain our brain to go, there's not enough time for me to waste on doing things for other people when I literally just want to do this for me. Or if there's not enough time to waste on expectations, outside expectations, because that's going to leave me disappointed in living my own life. There's not enough time for me to do something that doesn't actually enhance me and my experience in life overall, right? So, literally giving it a new meaning, a new feeling, a new energy and vibe to it, okay? So there you go. You give it a oops, where'd it go? Give the phrase a a new meaning. Okay? You give the phrase a new meaning, and then we take that phrase and we think of an affirmation that helps. Oh, I gotta use the bathroom. That helps affirm this new feeling. So specifically for I don't have or there's not enough time, give the phrase a new meaning as in there's well, there's not enough time for me to spend my time in ways that dissatisfy bruh, that dissatisfy me in the long run, right? So, anytime that you start to think, "Oh my god, there's not enough time." You finish that phrase with, "There's not enough time for me to spend in ways to spend my time in ways that dissatisfy me in the long run." All right? And then an affirmation to go with that so that you can actually start genuinely believing this yourself and actually putting it into action. I would say, what is the one that I used? Because I definitely used one. Uh, what was it? Okay, I was saying there's not enough time for me to spend my time in ways that just satisfy me in the long run. Oh, I make choices that support my lasting happiness and peace. And this is one that I actually like to use recurringly sometimes. I think I did say it as a affirmation earlier in this 30-day challenge, I believe. But that is that one of the affirmations I used for that. I was like, you know what? No, there is more than enough time. But you know what? There's not enough time for me to spend my time in ways that dissatisfy me in the long run. And I make choices that support my lasting happiness and peace. So, bye to that, right? Okay. And then I'll go straight down to here. So for give the phrase a new meaning, that's it. And then the other one is affirmation after the phrase. Okay. So for the one about skill, we're going to give the phrase a new meaning. And that means, let's see, I don't have the skills or knowledge for what I want. Okay. That's the phrase that you were saying, right? So I'm going to say, I didn't have the skills or knowledge for what I wanted until, and then I'm going to tie it into my affirmation. I didn't skills and knowledge to do what I wanted until I learn the skills I need to do what I want in life. And now you can tweak both of these sentences so they make sense, so they actually work together, or you can just leave them um, as is. And this one I'm actually going to change. I didn't have the skills and knowledge to do what I wanted to yet. So I learned the skills I need to do what I want in life. So I'm going to use that continuously learn the skills I need to do what I want in life. Yeah. I like that. I like that. So that's how you would like really like analyze that, like really break it down, really get down to it. Um the analysis goes the underlying theme that is actually being talked about with this belief, right? Underlying theme. Where's the highlighter? There we go. Underlying theme, right? And then there's the feelings when you're reading it. And then there's feelings when answering. And then you talk about your first experience with that underlying theme. Or you can choose your first experience with that underlying feeling, your feelings of answering. These are two different types of analysis, okay? You can do the analysis where you're analyzing your first experience with the underlying theme. This is if you're trying to reframe a limiting belief, an obstacle that you may be going through that you actually see and you know about. If you're trying to analyze something that feels deeper and you're not actually sure where you're going with it, start with your feelings, and analyze from there. So you would talk about your first experience with the feelings instead of your first experience with the underlying theme. Okay. And then the next thing you do is the priorities at the time, the themed priorities at the time. So let me also put that there so it's a bit clear. Themed priorities. And the theme is time. The theme is time and how I spend it, right? Okay. Next, you did the priority expectations that you had at the time. What were you actually dissatisfied with? Like you actually wanted to be doing this instead of this. So those were your expectations. What you wanted to do and that didn't happen, that left you upset. Those are the expectations you have. Okay. Then you're going to give the phrase a new meaning, right? So that anytime it does pop up, because you're not just going to immediately flip a switch and all of your old thoughts are never going to happen. We're humans, we have habits, our thoughts have patterns, and they are honestly recurring thoughts that just kind of get reworded until they mean something else or until they only mean what they only mean. Now, you give that phrase a new meaning, you flip it on its head, and then once you flip it on its head, you give an affirmation that instills that new belief so that you actually start to do and act in this new belief, right? And that is how you pretty much analyze, a full prompt, how you analyze a concept that you may be going through for each day. And yeah, now we'll get into like an actual day that you spent really quick. I will say that days, let me see how much time we've been on for a moment so that I can see. Okay, we've been on for about 47 minutes. I do need a little bit more of some water. I need a little tinkle break, but I'm trying to make sure we get to a point where I can actually stop before we get into any. Yeah, let me pause really quick. Okay, now that we're there, um, next thing I want everyone to do, let's just I'm about to do my daily gratitudes, affirmations, and words of appreciation. You go ahead and write down a daily gratitude, a daily affirmation, and some words of appreciation to yourself. Here, I'll make sure it's on the screen for everyone so they don't forget what you're writing. A daily gratitude, a daily affirmation, and daily this is self-appreciation, not just appreciation in general, because that's honestly kind of what gratitude can be. But I really want you to hone in on self-appreciation, okay? And let me put that on the screen for you all. Okay. Screen share. Okay. As you write down a daily gratitude, a daily affirmation, a daily self appreciation, uh, I will be just like literally 90 seconds to 2 minutes. I have to tinkle or I won't be able to get through this video. Okay. Yeah. Write down your daily gratitude, daily affirmation, daily self appreciation. Okay. Write it down. Write it down. Because they're also, these aren't just things that you write to just write. Okay. I'm gonna explain the significance once we get back. But write yours first, and I want to see what people come up with. Make sure if you're able to drop in the comments, you can leave your daily gratitude, your daily affirmation. It might be some a gratitude or affirmation that someone else, when they hear it, it kind of changes their life because that's kind of what affirmations, gratitude, mantras, they kind of do that. It's just a simple phrase that you can cling on to or hold on to that keeps you steady and that helps you breathe through the times, that helps you get through it. So, do your phrases. I'll be right back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Don't go anywhere. Oh, I need to plug this up. Okay. So, hopefully, you were able to write down at least one of them. I'll give everyone a little bit more time to write down their affirmations, appreciations, and gratitudes. As you write yours, I'm thinking about mine. Ooh, okay. Okay. Hopefully, everyone's gotten down their affirmations and gratitudes. I'm going to give everyone a minute or two more, also, so I can write my own down and then I'll type them up. Hmm. Okay. Okay. One more minute. Gratitude, gratitude. Okay, here we go. So, let me see if anyone shared any of their affirmations in the comments. I do want to see. Did anybody share? Have you shared any of your affirmations? Anything? Let's see. Okay. So we've got. Okay, we don't have any comments on YouTube. I genuinely have no idea how to check the comments on an Instagram live. So we're going to keep going. Okay. From here, like I said, my daily gratitude today is I am, I am grateful to be able to do my passions and work from anywhere at any time, no matter what or who is around. Because for me, my passions, I mean, they're things that are just things I can do without equipment, without like, I mean, really the only thing I may need is paper and pencil because one of my passions is writing. But other than that, I don't need outside things. I carry all of my passion, all of my work, all of my skill, all of my knowledge. It's here, it's in me, and I'm grateful for that. So that's what I'm grateful for today. My affirmation today is I am willing, I am disciplined, I am aligned. I am willing, I am disciplined, I am aligned. And to me, making sure that I put all of these together is what actually puts me in the position of where I want to be. And when I say I want to be, I prefer to use meant to be because it just helps me hone in on that version of myself because as long as I feel it's meant to be, it is. Okay? And I think the word choice of anything that we do is very important. And I do believe that different words have different connotations to everyone. So choose the words that work best for you. Okay. Because these are the affirmations and gratitudes, and these self appreciations are all about how best you can communicate with yourself, whatever you choose to believe, whatever you choose to feel. Okay. My daily self-appreciation. Okay, I know I did it. I kind of said the same thing either yesterday or the day before, but I am like absolutely extremely proud of myself for doing my version of this 30-day challenge, 30-day challenge, which is to complete these prompts and challenge yourself to doing like something specific that helps you hone in on it. So for me, that thing is getting on this live and being here authentically as myself, but also sharing these prompts. So I'm really proud of myself for showing up authentically as myself because I do feel like um in the past, like when I was creating my videos, I was definitely being myself, but I was definitely trying to censor me to a certain degree, or I did feel like a sense of pressure to make my content a specific way, which I'm sure people have heard before, but like it is you don't realize that you feel it until after you're kind of like done with the idea of what you were doing. And the reason I decided to do lives, first of all, did I even finish writing my appreciation down before I get down and deep into that? Absolutely extremely proud of myself for doing my version of this 30-day challenge, aligned, authentically, excitedly, and thoroughly, honestly. And of course, my inner perfectionist is like, we could do better. But like, I'm doing this very thoroughly. Like, I got this. I'm doing it. Uh, so yeah, that's what I was saying. um, what what was I saying before? I would like to get back to that point. This 30-day challenge and just completing it, I believe. But the point is, I am very proud of myself for doing this and showing up authentically. Um, Doing these lives, that's what I was on. Doing the lives, I chose to do that because um not only did I want it to feel more like the urgency of doing something on a live is very different than doing a recording. I really don't like having to edit. I hate like having to do the editing. I love the editing process. I love the magic that happens in it. I don't like having to do it. It's not for me. I really it really keeps me from being able to put out the things, or you know what? That's a limiting belief. I'm going to reframe that in just a second. But I originally thought that, you know, editing was just another obstacle for me to have to get through once I recorded. And when I'm recording and then I'm editing, I take out all the ums, I take out everything, and it just takes too much. If I'm live and I figured out how to get through it. Going live also just helps me not only hone in with what's authentic to me more, because I feel like, okay, I'm definitely not going to say that because honestly, I know that that's not something I want to share with the whole world. So I'm not even going to worry about saying that right now. Whereas if I were recording, I probably would have said it, gone on a whole 5-minute like spiel or whatever, and then ended up having to not only watch that, but I probably would have edited that whole section and then decided, you know what, I don't want it. I'm going to take it out. So it going live, I think the decision definitely was here to help me be more aligned, but also there is more of like a intimacy when it comes to lives, I feel, because the people who are going to stay tuned in, especially during the live sections, are people who are really here to actually do what we're talking about. Like, you're here for a reason, you're staying for a reason, and that reason is what you're seeing. So I definitely feel like doing the lives was just a way for me to do this in a more aligned way, and also a way for me to make that 30-day commitment um in a realistic way, because filming a video and editing, no matter how short, at minimum is going to take me 30 minutes to an hour. Like, but because I like to talk, so it's really going to be a 15 to 20-minute video short. Like, that's the shortest it's going to be. So it's still going to take me like 45 minutes to really like edit and get down to where I want it to, depending on um if I'd like to add in some like visuals, if I want to like hone in and like cut out certain stuff, if I have different parts I want to add, the outro, the intro, the background music, all of these things take time and energy. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to spend my time and energy on the actual recording itself. And then it goes out. That's it. So doing this live challenge and choosing to do it live was an aligned version for me, and I'm very proud of that. Um, yeah, yeah. I think the next message, oh, I do have a heart message, a message on my heart. That's really just what I call it. It's a something that is coming to me that either I need to say out loud so that I can process, or I need to say out loud in the live because I feel like whoever's here might need to hear it, or whoever may watch this may need to hear it, or my future self in the future, whoever she may be, they may be, may need to hear it. I just know that it needs to come out. It's on my heart and it's a message. So it's a heart message. I also have a few heart messages on my on Pampered and Lux Instagram, which are just different messages that I've put on my stories before that are really like they really get to me in the heart, and they really they're coming from here. And as I'm talking about this, like I'm actually feeling it like slightly in my chest. So, yeah, these are definitely heart messages, and I mean that. Okay. I am talking about new beginnings. New beginnings, I want you to think about what it was like to learn how to tie your shoe. If you remember that, because I know some of us were like really, really young when we learned. I don't even remember learning how to tie my shoes. I remember teaching my brother how to tie his shoes. So think about the first time you learned how to tie your shoes, or you learned how to read, or you learned how to ride a bike, anything like that. I'm going to talk about the first time I learned how to do like a plait, a braid, because I do know that that's one of the first lessons I remember that's sort of like this. Um, and I just remember I asked for help to learn how, and my mom was like, "No, you got it. Like you're good. You're going to figure it out. You got it." My parents were very much like, You can figure it out. You have a lot of skills and knowledge." So, I was definitely learning a lot of things through experience, like my own experience. And uh with that, those that I was using, I believe it was a Bratz doll, because I was a Bratz girl. I had all the I had a Bratz like themed room. My old bedroom is still pink and purple, girl. Like I had the sleeping bag, the lamp, everything. So I had my Bratz doll. First of all, I was frustrated that she wouldn't even like she wouldn't tell me anything. I was like, "What? Like, why won't you help?" And then I remember I was like, "Okay, if you're not gonna like all the way, like, tell me or teach me how, then like at least show me if I'm doing it right. Like, can you confirm what I'm doing?" I think I was like, I don't think I was more than 4 or 5. Um, because we were back in Ohio, and I remember it was this apartment we were in that used to be like across from a Target, and my mom used to work up there. She's a travel nurse, so we were like she was traveling a lot, and during the summers we would always go to where she was, or when we were younger, all of us would be where she was. Um, and I just remember the that we were there and in the apartment, I was sitting in the doorway. I had the plat. The way I was feeling was frustrated. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this. Like, how am I going to figure this out? And as I was thinking that, or saying that, I can't remember if it was said or I was thinking it, I pretty much figured it out. Like, it was happening. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, I made a plat. Like, I did it. I made a plat. Like, how did that happen? Let me go ahead and stop. I didn't even stop sharing my screen. Y'all are sitting here staring half at words. So, I want you to think about new beginnings and the way that that felt. I went from so frustrated to thinking, oh my God, I know that I can't even do this. How am I even going to do this? And then all of a sudden it was done. And I was like, oh my God, I did it. And then I was excited. I was so excited. So, when it comes to new beginnings, you have to think of it as learning this new skill that everyone around you just seems to be able to do. They don't really want to help you all the way with it, but like you you know that there's something about it that means that you can do it. It's just hard to figure out like how am I even doing this? And I think about new beginnings and mindset shifts and just changes and transformations in life that way. There are people around you who have done certain transformations, maybe even similar transformations as you're attempting to make, but they can't really tell you exactly how to do it, because even if they did, you still wouldn't be doing it. You just would have knowledge of how they did it. Um, and I, I think in terms of transformations and new beginnings, it is something that is almost you have to kind of learn how to navigate it for yourself so that you understand the navigation system and that you can actually continue to use it in your life. And then one day, There's going to be someone around you who's like, "Oh my god, I don't know how to even do this thing." And you're going to be like, "Excuse me?" You're going to be like, okay, I know that it sounds weird, but like you do kind of have to like, it doesn't matter what I tell you, you still wouldn't be through the transformation. You still wouldn't have done what needed to be done for you to get to the end, get to the other side. So new beginnings, they may feel lonely, they may feel extremely confusing, they may feel frustrating, and they may feel kind of hopeless at times, but you have to get through all of that to get to the excitement, to get to the other side, to get to the point where, oh my God, I'm doing it. Oh my God, I'm doing it. So you're gonna feel that frustration. You're gonna feel like, oh my God, this is hopeless. And then you're gonna feel all of those other great feelings. New beginnings are not straightforward. They might even feel like, oh my god, I just figured out how to do it yesterday. How did I forget to do it? How did I forget the skill already? And it's just because it needs to be practiced a little bit more. I remember that's when I learned how to plait, but there's a whole other skill, cornrows, like getting them to stick to your head. I didn't even figure that out until college. Okay, I couldn't figure that out until college. And it's because I wasn't practicing the skills that needed to be done for that. I really only started practicing my plaits like that once I hit high school and I started doing my own braids. And then I hit college and I was like, I need cornrows. Like I need something to stick. I need that now. So I had to start practicing that. And I honestly still haven't honed it much because I haven't really practiced it enough. It's all about practicing and re-establishing the new habit and the new skill to get through to the end of the new beginning, right? So that's just my message, my heart message today. I hope you all enjoyed and actually got through today's challenge and understood the analysis and things that were going on. I do still want to share that worksheet with y'all. I'm not going to give you a definite day that I'll be sharing it. I just want to make sure I get it to you for this 30-day challenge. It will be helpful to implement once you've actually done the full 30-day challenge. It might be more helpful once you hit that because then you can really focus on the days in chunks because the whole journey is kind of over and there's this microscopic journey you can look at instead of being in the journey trying to analyze it. It's a bit harder trying to figure out what's going on when you have no idea what's going on, right? Okay. um yeah, I believe that's all. I think we're good for today. This challenge I did derive from. I wanted to have a challenge that I could give out to people for free that was still easily accessible and that allowed them to just learn how to start paying attention to themselves so that a even deeper form of work could happen. And that's where this 30-day workbook comes in. This is the Get Ready for Change 30-day workbook. It is a workbook I created and I completed this challenge when I was product testing it, and it's the reason that I'm sitting here today. It's the reason that I'm actually able to hold a physical workbook of something that I created. Like the only reason I went to the printing shop to get it done is because I even completed the challenge. I have been just honing in on my power in life. And I do know that I have power in my words. I have power in my ability to bridge gaps in knowledge, in people, in my own life. And I have a passion for experiences and storytelling. So I wrote I wrote this workbook to really help people change the narratives of their life so that you can actually get on the alignment track that you see for yourself. It helps you hone in on what that track looks like. It helps you figure out what that version of yourself looks like. And it also just it gives some support along the way. Like I have these short paragraphs and things that I wrote that were actual. journal entries that I knew would just be helpful to other people. There each day has all of its different prompts and areas for you to answer. It has a section for you to write down your feelings and daily affirmations. It also has a section for when you're looking back in the future to actually put what is going on, like what how you view what was happening. That's where the section of how you analyze each day and the concepts comes from. Uh yeah, but this 30-day workbook is like very deep shadow work. You will end up on the other side as you're going to walk different, you're going to talk different, like something is you are going to be different. The free 30-day challenge is definitely something to help you hone in on yourself, and it is going to start that change in your life. It also may turn you into a completely different person as well, because we're really honing in on some limiting beliefs, targeting them specifically and telling them they don't exist, and we're giving ourselves new beliefs. So you're still definitely going to feel different completing this free 30-day challenge, but this workbook is intense, and it's something to prepare yourself for, even, which is also why I did this free 30-day challenge, to help prepare people for the deep shadow work and the deep transformation that happens here. So, if you would like to check that out, you can just head over to my website. It isn't not my website, but the Pampered and Lux website. It's in the description box below. You can click on it and just head over here. I'll pull it up so that you guys can just see what it looks like. But the workbook is on there, and you're able to see the different types of pages that are in it, how helpful it would be. And once it's ready for pre-orders or regular orders, which however late you may be watching this, or how whatever time you may be watching this, once it's available, it's available and you can buy it. You can actually do this get ready for change challenge. Um, and literally change your life. The podcast is definitely up and coming. Be sure to follow so that you know when it's actually out here. If you want to join in on some more intimate discussions, definitely head over to the blog posts and answer there. I also have like sort of a article, little blog entry myself when I answer them. All right. And yes, so that is the workbook. That is the website for Papered and Luxed. And that's what this channel, not this channel, that's what workbook, um, this workbook is for. It's helping you to get ready for change. Now, as I finish up, oh, today was long. I had a feeling today. I was like, I feel like the next few days are going to be really long ones. I also wanted to make sure that the live I did yesterday was up for at least 24 hours. I think today I might be coming tomorrow. I might come on a little bit earlier, which means day 11 and day 12 might be up at simultaneously for a few hours. But I do want to make sure every single day after day 10 is up for at least 24 hours, give everyone a chance to like really dive deep, watch it at their own pace, and go from there. And all the prompts are still on Pampered and Lux Instagram in the description box. You can click that as well. Thank you for joining. I'm really proud of you. We're done with day 11. Day 11 is over. We're almost halfway done, y'all. Like, we are almost 50% of almost there. I keep saying it because we're almost there. Okay.